Chris Aceto with RxMuscle.com with Tad, the diet coach. We just finished the 2018 Arnold Classic 212 finals, and what a twist and turn to this show, because only 7 guys in the show.
The light.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that. There's only 7 guys, which is kind of odd. So prejudging starts with Steve Weinberger, just head judge Steve Weinberger bringing all 7 out and evaluating all 7. What did you find odd with prejudging? Because there were some things that struck me as just like surprising.
Well, he did move them around in a different manner, but he kept everybody up there, didn't break them up in any group. But I can understand doing that with only 7 guys. I actually kind of liked that methodology because it leaves a little bit of mystery. Because I actually had a couple places transposed when I was looking at the competitors this morning.
Were the judges confused at some point in prejudging, because there were a lot of people who occupied the dead center spot, which was odd because it started with Jose Raymond in the middle, and then it moved it seemed like a long time with Samir Troudi in the middle, and then Dixon in the middle, and I don't think, which we'll get to, Kamal Elgargni ever got a chance to stand exclusively in the middle, but he was always right there next to the guy in the middle.
Yeah, so either the judges saw that he was a clear winner, or that through the comparison process, I think sometimes things become more evident, especially, like guys get tighter, or just the quality of the muscle, the quality of the physiques just sort of shine better when the longer they're up there and the longer they're compared. And sometimes some of the flaws, some things start to come out as you start to pose. And I saw that like with Guy Cisternino, and just a little lighter than I've seen him before. I know he's had this was a tough prep, I think, for him. But I know that I kind of liked a little bit of that mystery, like I said before.
How did the lighting in prejudging distract from what went on? Because here, clearly at night, the lighting is absolutely dead on.
Right.
And it gives a whole different idea to who really looks good and who could be a little bit off.
Yeah, well, I guess the prejudging was done in the Expo Center, so that stage lighting there is not as ideal as it is here. Even though it's very bright in there, not quite as ideal. So yeah, I think you're probably right, because I saw several of the competitors look markedly better. Some of it could just be from the time spent between prejudging and now, but chances are some could be lighting as well.
So contrast for me, Tad. 5th place, Jose Raymond. I'm sure he's very disappointed. And 2nd place, Tank Dixon, rather. How 2 superpower physiques don't end up 1st and 2nd or 4th and 5th, if that makes sense.
Yeah, good question. I really I didn't think that the judges would award Charles the 2nd place spot, even though he clearly, second
place.
Even though clearly he absolutely deserved it, and he's been sort of banging at that door for quite a while. He was lighter in weight, so I could absolutely see they're rewarding him for that. Not quite enough. He looked better, I think, in this at the finals here. They did at judging, just by marginally, not considerably. But I don't know. I think I would have liked to see Kamal in the center just to see what it would look like.
5th place, Jose Raymond, probably the densest, gnarliest guy in the lineup, and is in 5th place. Explain that.
Yeah, it's hard. I would have had him a place or 2 up. When I compare his physique to Charles Dixon, and I love Charles, man, but he's got some thickness of the waist. So does Jose, but he makes up for it with the bulbous shoulders, the thickness up top.
Glutes and hams,
and his legs are markedly improved.
I agree.
This year, so at the show than it has before, and I know that he's sort of looking to sort of maybe wrap up his competitive career in sometime in the near future. I'm not exactly sure when. I heard through the grapevine maybe this year might be the last year, but lots of competitors say that.
Yeah. So Jose falls to 4th. 5th place is superstar also is David Henry. I mean, where's that? How do you? Where do you have David Henry?
As soon as David Henry came out, and
what'd you think of him?
I didn't. I've never been a huge David Henry fan because his legs were so far behind, but he's brought him up, and I really...
2nd place here last year.
Yeah, and I really thought he was going to walk away with the title when I first saw him come out. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's one of the great things about this sport is you never know what's going to happen. It's sort of like, it's a coin toss sometimes.
It's subjective.
It's very subjective, right. And the way I saw it, I probably had David Henry a place or 2 easily up.
Yeah. And Samir Troudi, who occupied in terms of where the judges had him, the dead center spot for a long time in the beginning of the prejudging. Did he fade in prejudging, or was it the lack of condition from behind? Because he's round as as round as you can get.
I just think that it's hard to get, as a judge, it's hard to get past some of those really wonderful qualities, those round muscles. He's got a nice small waist. Everything looks
Big arms.
Big arms.
Big delts.
Yeah, everything's, and it's clean looking.
Legs have got bigger.
Yeah, and everything's nice and crisp and clean looking. He just wasn't quite in the condition he probably needed to be in to actually secure the winning spot.
I think that's really boils down to muscle maturity. I think it has nothing to do with dieting effort. Yeah, I think that he's a young physique. Still diamond in the rough, and just needs a few more years of training under his belt. So Tank Dixon ends up second place. Talk to me about the big, I guess would be shocker, Kamal Elgargni, first pro show, and walks away talking to Arnold at the end.
I know, at 46 years old.
Yeah, he's 49. He just said no. Oh, no, that's you. You're 53. What did you like about Kamal?
He has a really nice physique. He came in great shape. I love the story behind. He's got a really wonderful story of adversity and conquering adversity, and then coming back here this year after being denied last year, coming back to really sort of gain the title and really in convincing fashion. I really when every single person I talked to, from some of my friends who are pros, to other judges, he was the guy that stood out. That said, "Wow, he surprised me."
Was it just like the clean lines, because he's not the biggest guy, or the presentation, or just what was it? What gave him the it at the end?
For me, when I looked,
the routine was pretty
absolutely
impressive.
For me, he was crisp. All the muscle fibers, all of the muscle, it really stood out to me. He posed well. He had a really nice waistline. Everything looked really, really in place. It looked like he really did his homework.
How would he do at the Olympia?
Man, that changes that. He would, showing up like this, my guess is he would be pretty.
They love new.
Yeah.
They do.
I'd say top 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, that's a big statement.
Yeah. He'd have to be a little bit fuller.
Yeah.
I think a little bit fuller, but because it's a different show. And
yeah, for sure. Well, I'll prep him, and I'll probably end up spilling him, and he'll abandon me. I'm just kidding. So, okay, that's the 212. The Classic was a battle. It was a showdown, really. There were 5 exceptional guys, I think, in the Classic division. And I think this division has morphed in the last 2 years to, I think it's not really Classic Physique. I think it's a bodybuilding class, period. The first year was physique. It was really heavily on lines. I think now it's just morphing heavily and quickly into density, sharpness, fullness, graininess. I hope it doesn't explode and go into implode and go into guts and water retention.
Well, especially with guys like Breon, who's winning, and other guys who are dominating the class, like Danny Hester. They're bringing a really very aesthetic quality to the class. And I think that's really wonderful. And I don't think it'll because of the weight restrictions, it's going to be really difficult to find guys that are really going to destroy the aesthetic quality of the.
Where do you see Breon winning this show over Arash Rahbar?
I'll tell you what.
Why?
Why? Well,
why? Where? What?
Well, he's on stage. Breon's got his muscles stand out really well. Even though I think he needs a little bit of maturity in his lats and his back. But when he hits his poses from the rear and hits his poses front, everything pops out.
He looks remarkably small when he first comes out by himself.
Exactly, until he hits his shots.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
Yeah, it is, and that's what pushes him ahead. Because immediately, my first instinct, even when I saw him at the Olympia the very first time, too small. I'm like, okay, this guy's not going to win.
I thought when he first came out today, I said this guy's definitely not going to win. He's too small. But once he got going.
Yeah, it just sort of. Some people have that nice quality. They just sort of blow up and pop up. Arash, I love Arash, and he's got such a really great physique. He's going to battle a little bit. He's a little light in the traps. It's just the way his physique ends up looking on stage. I don't think he really is. It's just the way it ends up looking. He's close, so close. Arms, shoulders. If he had a little bit more fullness, it would offset the slightly blockiness of his waist. Slightly. He has a slightly wide waist in some shots, but if he could accentuate his shoulders, bring his shoulders out a little bit more with fullness.
He's got the slightly wide waist, yes. And he's going against the guy. Well, he's going against a bikini competitor's waist.
Exactly. These guys have, 28-inch waist, 27-inch waists, and or smaller maybe. I don't know, but it doesn't hurt him too bad because he poses well. His conditioning was on point. He's full. He has nice, clean muscles, and I think he still has room to make some improvement in with his physique and place better and better and better. His day's coming for this show. I know it. I can just feel it.
What about moving on to figure? Figure champion was. That's how much I know about it.
Yeah, Candice Lewis Carter. Yeah, and
Candice,
and the winner last year. She won last year, and everybody enjoyed that.
Who was the winner?
I'll be honest.
Last year.
Last year, Candice was the winner.
Okay, who was second here?
And I think it was Sydney as well.
Sydney,
yeah.
yes.
And Cyd Gillon, who got second place again this year. I mean, I really am a fan of her physique.
I'm a crazy fan.
And when she came out, and especially at the prejudging, so here's what I had her winning over Candice at this show. When I looked at it, I had
Candice from the get-go, and but I thought I might be biased because she's more muscular, and I was thinking maybe I'm not looking at the right. You know what I mean? I'm not judging it properly because I'm coming from the bodybuilding background, and I was so impressed with like the bigger delts and the bigger legs, and maybe that's not what the criteria is. So.
Not necessarily. There's I call it a T-frame. You want to get this T-frame, so sometimes the legs don't have to be quite. It's different for each figure competitor because some figure competitors really need more legs.
Candice has more of an X with the big thighs.
Exactly. She's actually had to downsize those bad boys. I know Arnold's asking her questions about or his son is asking questions about what kind of leg workouts. I don't really think she squats as much as she does probably, but not as much. Now we're going to move on to the women's physique division, and in the prejudging and in the finals, it was pretty clear to me that I think there was almost 30 competitors, but it was really the Shanique Grant and Natalia Colio show because they stood out more than any other competitors, and I really didn't see to myself. I love Natalia's physique. I love her conditioning, but I just couldn't give her the first place nod on my sheet.
I agree.
Even though she was in better condition than Shanique was.
Yeah. And it's a structure issue. I mean, we haven't seen a structure like this on a man or woman. Meaning, we haven't seen a V-taper like that, the cap delts, since to me she's like a young version of Linda Murray.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Which is a testament to how unbelievable Linda Murray was all these years ago, because Linda had that plus the quads, plus the back, plus the real density and size, and
proportionally everything.
But very reminiscent of Linda Murray, and why Linda Murray was able to string together all those Olympias was simply because, she went up against girls who had equal, if not better, levels of muscularity and density at times. But it was Linda's structure that, just standing there that you just would be bamboozled with, or just not bamboozled, because that means you've been cheated.
Right.
Just that would undermine the entire competition just because of that structure. And I think that's what, we can all agree in the sport, what is so unique about her, and that she's so young.
And she has this unusual quality about the structure of physique that it's almost cartoonish.
Yeah.
You only see this stuff being drawn in cartoons.
Yeah, that's right.
and
winning the show.
And winning the show, yeah. And you're right. And in my guesstimation, she really does have probably one of the greatest physiques that I've seen on stage ever, in terms of its proportions and everything else. I mean, I don't know if she continues to accelerate her physique at this level, she's going to go backwards, I think, because if those shoulders get any bigger, it can really morph the physique. What do you think about how she's doing?
I think there's, she just needs to fine tune. There's nothing else to improve on. And, the idea of trying to get bigger, I think, is not, she doesn't really need to do anything, which is hard to do because...
It's hard to say to a competitor.
Well, because as an athlete, you want to improve, and you hear, quote, expert commentary like supposedly me and you say there's nothing to improve. I mean, that's up to her, but, once the waist goes or she becomes too muscular, someone else could pop up. I doubt it, but...
Well, then there's somebody like Natalia who's really close behind her in the show.
Yeah, true.
And she has a beautiful look on stage. She has a wonderful presentation. She's fixed a lot of small little features like makeup and hair, and she's done a great job. All the fine points that are there now. And so she came to me and asked me, what should I do? And I said,
keep competing.
I said, you're exactly what I said. I said, you're doing everything right. I said, but if I was to be ultra critical, I would say more fullness in the shoulders, so they can make her physique structurally emulate this more perfect structure.
Yeah, and there you go. We go back and we're talking about structure again. So
you don't buy that in a bottle.
That's right. So it's it's going to be tough. I see this girl Shanique's being on top of at least a couple of years, until someone else pops up. And the crazy thing is, someone may pop up, because
That's the nature of the sport,
yeah,
right?
that's the nature of the sport. Right when you think nobody can get any better, or somebody comes out of the woodwork, or somebody makes some crazy leaps and bounds and improves, and here we are. I mean, we were talking earlier about Breon. He came from bodybuilding. He was good, but he's refined it down to like something totally different as a classic guy, and he's on top.
Well, it'll be really interesting to see what happens this year at the Olympia, given all the really wonderful physiques and women's physique competitors. And I suspect, this is just my personal prediction, but I suspect that Shanique will be in the top 3 pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I agree for sure.
She may even be the next recurring champion.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen, but she's completely deadly. She's very dangerous, and she just got to keep doing what she's doing, and she seems to have the right mindset and head on her shoulders to keep doing it.
Absolutely. Well, we had a really wonderful time. I thought it was a really great show so far. We got another day tomorrow.
Yeah, big time tomorrow. Men's Open.
Men's Open, yeah. That one, to me, in previous years, I don't know about you, I was always looking more forward to the 212 division.
Yeah, me too.
And this year's the Open. I'm looking forward to the Open.
Very contrasted physiques of the show. Rolly, Cedric, Dexter, I mean...
Minus Sean, which was kind of...
Yeah. No, he'll be back.
He'll be back. Actually, I'm very excited for Sean this year, given the nature of his mental disposition, how he's taken. Yeah. I really think that this next Olympia is going to be a groundbreaker for him.
Yeah, well, he was driving down the highway on inner tubes apparently with the...
with a bleeding ulcer, walking on death's doorstep.
Exactly. So, if he can do well with issues, without issues, I expect it to be
Well, maybe at the Olympia we'll have this conversation, except we'll have the conversation under the guise of that he has won the Olympia.
Well, we'll see. Phil, I'm sure Phil will go out and make a new Dream Killer shirt and put me on it.
Well, it's been a good show so far. Tomorrow, we're looking forward to tomorrow. But for me, Tad the Diet Coach, and Chris Aceto, we're here with RX Muscle at the 2018 Arnold Classic, and we're out.